Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for being here today. I'm Mary Kirschner. I lead customer success at Focal CXM, and I'm really glad that you're joining us. If your field teams are still digging through multiple screens to prepare for HCP interactions, then you're leaving productivity on the table. Today, we're going to show you how Veeva Vault CRM X-Pages can transform that experience by putting the right insights at the right moment directly in front of each user. You're going to walk away with some practical ways to simplify the interface, surface high-value data, and drive more impactful field engagement immediately. A little housekeeping: if you have any questions along the way, please put them into Q&A below and we'll answer them at the end of the session. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, the agenda today, we'll be talking about Veeva Vault CRM X-Pages, and then delve into potential use cases to show you our expertise. Next slide, please. Today with me, we have two of our experts. Rajesh Damodala leads Focal CXM India Delivery Center and is known for aligning complex technology initiatives with clear business outcomes. He brings deep expertise in solution consulting, global program management, and scaling delivery capabilities across Salesforce and Veeva platforms. Rajesh has partnered with global organizations across manufacturing, automotive, and life sciences to drive impactful CRM transformations. With him is Ashok Chilikuri. Ashok is an enterprise architect with over 14 years of experience leading digital transformation initiatives in the life sciences industry. He specializes in cloud-native and search-driven architectures with deep expertise in Veeva Vault, Coveo, OpenSearch, and AWS. Ashok has a strong track record of taking solutions from concept to production, ensuring they are scalable, performant, and compliant. Thank you both for joining us today, and I will pass this over to you, Rajesh.
Perfect. Thank you, Mary, for the kind introduction. And for the folks who have joined in, good morning, good afternoon. And today, as Mary said, we're going to walk through X-Pages and how X-Pages can improve productivity for one of the most important stakeholder in the pharma industry, the field sales reps. For those of you who are new to X-Pages or who have not heard about it or had an opportunity to see it, this is the webinar for you. And what we're trying to do today is give you a glimpse of why X-Pages is used and how a pharma field rep can utilize X-Pages for his productivity. And more importantly, some of the frameworks and technologies that can be used for building X-Pages. And as a Veeva Services partner, how Focal CXM can partner with you, guide you, help you in your journey towards building X-Pages. So X-Pages, simply put, it's a data visualization tool, and it improves the user experience, and it actually helps the field sales rep to be able to visualize the data coming from multiple sources. It could be data coming from your Veeva data objects or the data coming from external databases as well. For a field sales rep, he does not have to shift multiple pages and look for data before he's talking to a HCP or during he's talking to the HCP. So all he will have is the visualization simply put in one screen, and that improves the enhancement, improves the productivity of the field sales rep. Now, in the erstwhile Veeva, which was built on the earlier Salesforce platform, My Insights was used in a similar fashion. And today in Veeva Vault platform, it is transformed into X-Pages. Now, again, to summarize, you have two basic, functionality in X-Pages. One is the X-Pages Studio. X-Pages Studio is basically available to any user of Veeva platform. And using X-Page Studio, which is a no-code platform, you can build your own simple Veeva X-Pages. And Veeva also provides the out-of-the-box templates for you to leverage and then enhance on it. And the most importantly, for some of the complex requirements, Veeva also gives you flexibility to come up with custom web pages, right? Using frameworks and tools like JavaScript, Angular, and obviously using some of the JavaScript libraries to improve your visualization. And that's where Focal CX comes to picture. We have deep expertise in enabling customer experience, and today we are going to show you how to build those custom pages using X-Pages. Next slide. Okay, before we kick off the actual presentation, let's look at some of the key personas, right? Now, CIO obviously in charge of the transformations. And if you look at some of his business needs, I'll pick one to start with. So data democratization, right? So today we are in the world where data is abundant, but insights are very difficult to get. Now, for a CIO, one of his priority is how do we combine data from multiple sources and use the appropriate tools to provide insights to his stakeholders. Now, in this case, in our example, one of his stakeholder could be is a field sales rep, and the field sales rep obviously is using, let's say, Veeva platform for his day-to-day use for pre-call planning and executing the sales calls, and then writing his notes after the call. Now, during this life cycle, and then more so in the digital world, the pharma field rep would hardly get few minutes facing the doctor, right? Now, the important priority for him or business need for him is how can he make this 5 minutes most productive for him and for the doctor? And therefore, X-Pages comes very handy because for him, the X-Pages gives him all the insights what he needs to be able to prepare, to be able to communicate with the doctor. And finally, the most important stakeholder is also the Veeva Vault IT admin. And X-Pages, as we have discussed, is a tool, and the IT admin can, it rapidly, build these X-Pages based on the specific requirements of the sales reps, and and deploy these solutions into the Veeva Vault platform. Yeah, next page, please. All right. So, where can Focal CXM help you and partner with you? Now, we've been in business for about 14 years now, and we're focused on providing solutions to the life sciences industry. And how are we different? Over the years, we worked with Fortune 100 pharma companies, and this is how the customers perceive us, right? And the core philosophy of Focal CXM is we approach whatever we do, we approach with a solution mindset. What that means is we try to uncover and find the problem statement to start with, and try and really put our innovative thinking to solve that problem and provide a solution. Going above and beyond what the users want. So that kind of differentiates us from other service providers in the market, and that has been highly appreciated by most of our clients. And we continue to improve on these parameters. And being a small company, we believe we are very nimble, and we would like to be that way because today time to market is very critical, and our flexibility is appreciated by the clients. And what has really improved, what has really helped us so far is combining the problem statement solution approach with our domain knowledge and industry focus. So all these four parameters put together makes us special, and that's where we are able to provide solutions to specific problems. Now, if you look at today in the context of X-Pages, the tagline CRM, data, and AI is absolutely appropriate because as we see, most of the data lies in CRM, and then in the case of pharma, there's a lot of data that is coming from third-party providers like IQVIA and many other providers which bring in the prescription data, territory data, and patient data, etc. And therefore, combining this two is critical. Overlaying that with AI basically makes field reps highly productive. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Next slide. All right. So diving deep into the topic for today. Now, as we discussed, why is X-Pages required, right? Now, today, if you look at a sales rep, see, the sales rep has three key objectives for him. The first and foremost objective is how does he drive the growth of prescriptions from the doctors, right? Essentially, it's all about how does he, empower the doctors to be able to write new prescriptions, and also overview on the total prescriptions that are basically his doctors are actually doing today. So that gives him a overall kind of a handle to see how he can prioritize his territory and how he can prioritize the meetings with the doctors. And bottom line is he kind of prepares the meetings with the data and not on intuition or not on basically the gut feeling. So that is more important when it comes to X-Pages. Now, as we have discussed, so how does it look like? X-Page typically for a sales rep, he logs into the CRM Vault, and then he will have, let's say, under an account page, he will have specific tabs where he can have a custom web page, a custom X-Page, so to say, and that custom X-Page will have data coming from multiple sources, power packed with insights, visualization into one page, right? So that makes the life easy for a sales rep, and he can, for example, the use cases that we will cover on prescription analysis and territory analysis. You can clearly see the difference that these X-Pages can make to the life of a pharma sales rep. Now, typically, the way we work, and we have worked so far with some of our customers, is so we first look at some of the use cases that the customer has, and you do a few days of requirement workshops, trying to really understand the problem areas and jot down the business needs and the outcome that in this case the pharma sales rep wants. And then we also discuss and consult on how does the UI UX should look like, right? Because that's more important, right? The ease of use of the X-Page is more important, and also what is more important is the data that it provides. So therefore, the screen UI UX design, we provide wireframes, we do a small POC to ensure that this meets the requirements of our customers. And we also take up the very complex custom screen development and use, for powering X-Pages, typically JavaScript as a language is mandatory. And this is used for some of the simple to medium kind of dashboards. But often we have seen there are complex dashboards our customers want. And for that, we also have expertise using Angular, React, and these frameworks enable to come up with complex visualization libraries like D3.js, etc., which bring in high level of data visualization, right? And most importantly, for a dashboard to be successful, we need to integrate and get data from third-party databases. So we specialize in integrations. We've done multiple integrations with all the available data sources, and we leverage the existing APIs, and also, if required, we can come up with custom APIs. And we have a expert UI UX team as well, and we believe customer experiences are forte, and therefore we also work closely on data visualizations and ensure that the screen is easy to understand for the pharma sales reps. And then what happens is the testing is important, because once the X-Page is developed, it gets deployed across the regions, across the territories, and therefore there is no room for failure. So we have, again, a specialized team for testing and ensure whatever we deliver is zero defect. And once the testing is done, then the deployment. So we also help the internal IT team of our customers. Of course, customers have their own DevOps process or their own deployment process. We help them, or we collaborate with them to be able to deploy it efficiently. Okay, once the X-Pages is deployed, obviously there are enhancements that will come up as the sales reps keep working on it. So we also get into the managed services model, where either the fixed capacity or we provide our capacity on demand. So the idea is to be able to work with our customers on a continuous basis, so that the value added is on a incremental basis. So that's basically the way we engage with our customers. And in terms of our specific expertise, as we said, we bring design expertise, we bring the UI UX screen development experience. We also bring our expertise in all the modern web development technologies, like I said, JavaScript, Angular, React, and most of the libraries that are very popular using D3.js and any other charts, trends, etc. that are available as an open source library. Okay, next slide. Okay. So before we go into the specific use cases, what we want to talk today, let's look at a typical day in a life for a field sales rep. So as we said, the critical part of the sales rep's day is how does he plan his day? How does he pre-plan his calls? And how does he prepare for the meetings? And then he goes on and has the meeting with his HCPs. And then once the meeting is over, then obviously he makes his notes and recommendations as part of the post-call reporting. Today, the use cases what we are talking about is covered as part of pre-call planning, as well as it goes into other phases as well. So we're going to talk about two use cases, as we said. One is the prescription trends and the territory analysis. Now, for any field sales rep, these two are the major, I would say, tools that would help him to be productive. Now, how does that happen? Let's say a field sales rep logs into the CRM, and then he has his uh, target doctors to be visited. Then what does he do? So he goes through a specific X-page, what we designed like prescription trends, and then he looks at how the doctors are basically prescribing, what are the new prescriptions that the doctors are doing, and what is the overall total prescriptions. So how does it help him? So basically, this will help him to really understand the pattern of each of the doctor and the patients that are visiting these doctors. And therefore, when he actually goes and talks to the doctors, he goes there well prepared. He doesn't have to show these trends to the doctors, but all these dashboards are basically for the consumption of the field sales rep, so that when he goes to the meeting, all his meetings are consultative and all meetings are data driven. So that's the basic objective of prescription trends. And the next, again, more important, objective of a field sales rep is how does he manage territory, right? Now, in terms of territory, when he logs into the Vault CRM again, so he looks at the overall territory and overall doctors that he has to visit, and then how many doctors he has visited in the last, let's say, 3 months, and which of the doctors he has not visited. He has visited frequently. All these trends he can visualize, and he can also visualize based on the earlier pattern of prescriptions. He can prioritize the HCPs. Then he can actually go ahead and plan the routes to be able to plan his day. And then, he can also actually schedule the meetings right from the X page. So all these use cases are possible, when we develop these X pages. So today we are going to only talk about only two use cases, but again, we can do so many use cases. It depends on the use case for every customer. So we are happy to talk to you and see what is your use case and how can we really talk to you and come up with a small POC and then take the discussion forward. Next slide. All right. So as we said, the prescription trends. Before I hand over it to my colleague Ashok, who can show you the actual visual and how we actually build that particular data visualization. Prescription trends, as we said, we are focusing on two main factors, right? The new prescriptions as well as total prescriptions. So these are the trends that we want to show you in the X page. And as we have discussed, this is absolutely important for the sales rep to be able to increase his efficiency and talk to the doctor based on the data and not on the gut feeling. And similarly, on the territory analysis, as we said, we have embedded a powerful graph, and then the visualization of which all HCPs come under his territory and how many doctors he has visited, yet to visit, etc. And then right from the X page, he can go ahead and schedule the meetings with the doctors. So these are the two use cases that we want to show you today. But of course, we are open to discuss with you to understand your specific problem and then work with you to enhance these X pages and then see how we can implement for your customers. All right, next page. All right, so yeah, thank you. And Ashok, take it over.
Yeah, thank you, Rajesh. And yeah, thanks for that good introduction, Rajesh. Yeah, so far, yeah, we heard that X-Pages is not just a UI customization, it is an extension framework. Let me simplify X-Pages from the engineering perspective, actually. It allows us to embed a web application inside a Veeva Vault CRM. So effectively, we are running it. Front-end framework is AngularJS inside CRM UI with access to the CRM context, actually. This is very similar to the micro front-end architecture. The key difference is it runs inside a controlled and a very secured environment. Here, majorly, we have three main layers. First layer is obviously it is a UI layer. Angular application running inside the X pages. We structure the Angular app like an enterprise application. If Angular is not optimized, X pages performance will also, degrade quickly. We used HTML, CSS, and that engineering even inside CRM. Responsiveness is matters. Good UI is not about looks. It is about the performance and clarity as well. So that's what we maintained here. And coming to the next layer, it is an integration layer. Third party API integration we have done here. Now let's talk about the backbone of X-Pages, that is API integration. Most enterprise data are not live inside CRM. We integrate external systems using APIs. Front end should consume clean, business-ready data, not raw API responses, actually. We integrated third-party libraries here for these two business use cases. One is chart libraries and another one is map libraries. We are going to show that. And handling large data sets inside CRM requires, careful engineering. We did that, actually. And the third one and best one is data layer. We know that, right? Third party systems like, NRX, TRX providers or geo services, we used it as a data layer. And technically for this one, what's happening here is simple but powerful. The Angular app, inside X pages detects, current HCP, fetches that, real-time NRX, TRX data and renders it instantly. Here we are using D3.js. By using the D3.js, actually this visualization we are showing right now. Now let me talk, about a simple about D3.js, one of the most powerful visualization libraries we can use inside X-Pages. D3.js is a JavaScript library used to highly dynamic and interactive data visualization using web standards. Core technology it uses is HTML, CSS, and scalable vector graphics, and obviously JavaScript. Unlike typical chart libraries, D3.js does not give you, ready-made charts. It gives you full control over the data is visualized. That's why, we used here, D3.js. So we moved analytics from outside CRM to inside decision making. That is the first thing that what we do. Go to next slide. Yep. So this one, if you see this one, we are using the open source maps like, leaf left, and we can utilize that one. We take HCP address from the CRM, convert to coordinates, and we are showing that to HCP directly. So HCP can plan so easily that, his day. We also handle large data using clustering and lazy loading. So CRM is no longer just data, it becomes a planning tool, technically. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, this call scheduling, everything is also part of, this app that what we deployed here. It is nothing but, full packed Angular application that we could able to deploy. Not only Angular application, any front-end framework we can go and deploy by using the X pages. And we already experienced and, expertise in doing that. We already experimented that kind of a thing, and we could able to show whatever by using the front-end frameworks we can show everything in the X pages in a very secure manner. Here we are using external data integration, data visualization, custom screen development. We already discussed, right? Custom screen development in the sense it is advanced customization. Custom in the sense, not only showing data from the Veeva CRM, we are pulling the data from the external sources by using the API integration and the data visualization tools. Also, we are using open source tools actually. That's what, we did here. Next slide. Yeah, and before we are going to questions, can we see directly iPad screens here? Can we bring in iPad screens here? We can see that, how we have implemented that. We can directly see that application running in the iPad.
So I think Abdul is sharing the screen. While Abdul is sharing screen, so again, feel free to bring up your questions, and then happy to answer those after this session. Yeah, how about you?
Yeah, this is typically Veeva Vault CRM screens. That's what we are looking at. Yeah, in this tab, we implemented, our custom visualization screens. Yeah, this is what we discussed, the open source, geolocation library. That's what we used. And, these coordinates are nothing but HCP address actually, which is residing inside the Veeva CRM. And by using that data, we are showing like this. So whatever appearing here in the red in color is that, that HCP interaction not happened. It has to happen, and the green is already done. So sales rep can easily identify that, what is his next plan so easily. So decision making is going to be very simple by this way. Yeah, call schedule.
Perfect.
Yeah, just call is scheduled by using that geolocation map. Let's go to prescription trends here. Yeah, by using the D3JS, connecting to the external source of NRS TRX data source, and we are pulling the data and showing here. And we can identify that, performance is also really good here. Visualization. Yeah, thank you, Abdul.
Perfect. Just to wrap it up, keep the screen here, Abdul. Okay. So if you've seen this, basically when a sales rep logs in, he directly goes into one of the screens like prescription trends, and then with this prescription trends, he is basically analyzing the new patients, the prescriptions that are written to new patients, and this is required because then with this trend, he can analyze the growth, right? And then with the TRX, with the total prescriptions, he can really understand whether he's able to retain all the prescriptions or is there a decline in prescriptions, right? So this data is so important. Based on this data, then he can categorize, prioritize all these doctors, and then he can come up with the right uh, data points. And then based on these data points, he actually goes to the doctor, and then he will have a meaningful conversation. And as you see, he doesn't have to go through multiple screens, and just one screen enables him to improve his productivity. And this, as we discussed, one of the main objective basically for any pharma sales rep is to see how does he grow the prescription rate, right? So that's an important objective for him, and then tools like this will make his life easy. And the second screen, we talked about territory, as Ashok has already talked about. If you see, it's so easy, right? So he goes to the territory, and then of course this is the representative dashboard. As we said, we can bring in more details as you want, but here we just considered only a very simple segmentation: the doctors who have been already visited, and some of the doctors whom the pharma sales rep has not visited for whatever reasons, right? Now there is no complex report, simple visualization, and then you can look at all these red icons, and then you can analyze why this doctor was not visited. Is it because of specific reasons, or is it like is something which he got missed out, etc. He can analyze, and the best thing is he can also do actions from here. What do we mean by actions? He can actually go further and say he can plan his day. He can select all these icons and red dots, and then he can plan his route plan, and then start visiting, and then improve his productivity. And then again, you can go one step forward and basically schedule the meetings like Ashok showed. So that way, his day is already packed based on the route planning. So these are simple hacks which will make the life of a sales rep easy, and then therefore his productivity will increase. And as we said, so happy to talk to you all. Please bring up any of your specific use cases that you have, and see we can see how we can at least start with a prototype or at least a wireframe and share our thoughts how effectively we can build this use case. Yeah, so that's all from our side. So we're open to questions. So do you have any questions so far, Mary?
Yes, I do. Thank you so much, Rajesh and Ashok. Really appreciate you sharing your expertise today. We do have quite a few questions here. So the first is, what kind of business intelligence dashboards are natively available within Vault? And hence, what is the kind of typical requirement for customized dashboards?
You want to take it, Ashok?
Yeah, in Veeva Vault CRM, business intelligence is, internationally designed actually to be operational plus, embedded, not a full enterprise analytics platform. That's the key to understand both and both like, what comes natively and custom dashboards. That's what, still why companies still invest heavily in the custom dashboards, because whatever we expect may not be available with the Veeva CRM for sure. Native BI capabilities involve CRM. You can see that, standard reports, that it is just a foundation layer built on predefined report types, that is, objects plus relationships between those objects. These kind of reports can be generated, and we have native dashboards available like charts, tables, and drill down capabilities, metrics, some metrics. These kind of things are really available. Sales and activity dashboards, territory and account insights. These things are available, but if we need anything additionally by using the X-Pages, actually we can go for the customization. That's what X-Pages is really very powerful.
Okay, thank you. The next question is, can the field sales reps actually ask questions around the reports on X-Pages?
Sorry, ask questions. 1 second. Can field sales ask
Let
questions?
me try and take this, Ashok.
Yes.
So,
This is exactly there. Yeah, go on, Rajesh.
Sure. So, just to validate this question, so first thing is the X-Pages basically is a consumption of a field sales rep, right? So he's basically preparing for a meeting and trying to understand more insights, and not necessary that he's actually showing this X-Pages to the doctor. So that's the first thing. Now, can he ask questions? Now, if I understand this, if the question is more about can he interact with the doctor, I don't know if that is the intention of the X-Pages, because X-Pages is all about getting data from multiple sources into one page, one screen, and then visualizing it to be able to understand it simply and then derive insights. Asking questions, if he wants more insights, if he wants more data, more filtering, more segmentation, those kind of requirements, obviously, he can talk to the internal team, or he can talk to partners like us, which will partner like us, and we will enhance that particular dashboard on making it effective. But if the question is more on interacting with the doctors, no, that's not the objective of X-Pages.
What about interacting with the reports?
Yeah, absolutely. So he can certainly interact with the reports, Mary. Like I said, Ashok also alluded to that. So there are some complex libraries for data visualization, which will help dynamically filter, dynamically segment based on the filtering that the farmer wants to do. And then based on the filters, the data gets visualized. And at times, the data can be fetched real time. So, and he gets the data real time and real time visualization. In scenarios where the field sales rep is actually in a meeting with the doctor or is working offline, There could be scenarios like that. And therefore, in such scenarios, these dashboards as well work, but it may not be the absolute real-time data. But yes, in that offline scenarios as well, these dashboards can be interactive so that he can prepare for the meeting effectively.
Okay. Next question. What kind of external data sources integration are your clients typically asking for?
Ashok, take it up.
Right now, we talked about, two use cases, right? There also we are interacting with the NRX, TRX data, which is, very critical data for the decision making. Like that's what, we did that POC. And we have other things also like HCP affiliations also we try to implement as a POC, like he's a key influencer for, different HCPs. So we need to consider his impact on the market. So that for that visualization also, all the data is not fully available in the CRM. Sometimes that's where, we go and interact with the external data. And
So just to add to what Ashok, sorry, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
And whatnot, whatever our APIs we can leverage through any of the front end, or APIs are available really to consume, that data can be directly interacted through these X-Pages from Veeva CRM easily.
So just to add to what Ashok said, Mary, to your question, what kind of external data sources we have integrated or we can integrate? So we can broadly look at, let's say, for example, you have data within Veeva Vault objects. So, we can use Vault APIs and within the platform. So it's pretty much straightforward, right? Now, at least for the TRX, NRX and TRX data, typically, in industry leader is IQVIA. And then most of these pharma companies tend to buy data from these third-party vendors, and they also expose their APIs. So for us, when we are building the X-Pages, so we can connect with this third-party databases, be it be IQVIA or be it be any other database in the market, or it could be a custom database. For example, we talked about visualization in graph. There could be database like Databricks or Neo4j, for example, which is very popular for graph reporting. And Databricks is also popular for getting multiple data from multiple sources. So we can connect with any of these databases, Databricks, Neo4j, or IQVIA, or any of these databases where the data is important for a sales rep.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Next question. As we already use standard Vault CRM layouts, what specific advantages do X-Pages offer over the default interface in terms of field productivity?
Okay, let me take this question as well. So I think this is a simple question, but important question. So Veeva Vault CRM, as we all know, it is basically to help these sales reps to pre-plan, to do the pre-call planning, and then during the call planning, and then the post-call planning, right? But it gives you data, basically mostly the data which is already recorded, or we can say this data is kind of a records already present in the system. But what X-Pages can do for you is it within one screen, right? Like we talked about, it can give you data visualization from multiple databases, you don't have to visit multiple screens within your, let's say, Veeva Vault platform. You just have to go to a specific tab. Like for example, we saw it, let's say NRX, TRX, or prescription trends. Now that one screen gives you all the insights what you need. So in essence, what you are actually gaining is you're gaining your intelligence on the Veeva Vault platform in one screen. And does Veeva platform has this out of the box? Yeah, for sure. So there are certain templates now that Studio is available for all Vault platform users. But this X Studio has some of the basic templates which are already there. For example, call planning template, territory planning template, SCP engagement template. So there are certain templates which are already available in Veeva Vault X-Pages library. But these are very, very basic. So users can go ahead and use this if it is solving the purpose. But in most cases, the requirements of these pharma reps and users are beyond the standard templates. So that is when these custom pages are required to be developed, and partners like us typically partner with the companies to develop these custom pages.
Okay, great. Thank you. Next question is, how easy is it for business users or admins, like considered non-developers, to create and maintain X-Pages layouts without heavy technical dependency?
Sure. Ashok, do you want to take it?
Yeah, it is not actually too complex, guys. We need some practice actually if we have to use that layouts and everything, some configuration thing, and how to configure them in the X-Pages Studio, and how to deploy them into the CRM, and how to utilize this kind of knowledge and practice is required. If we have that practice, yeah, it is not too complex actually to use. But if we need advanced customization, that's where technical expertise is required. Advanced customization in the sense Angular applications, React, JavaScript, using external data, APIs, consuming APIs, and these kind of things really needs a technical expertise. It's where complexity comes in. That's where technical engineering team comes in. But these normal things can be easily used with minimal practice.
Great, thank you. Next one is, can X-Pages integrate real-time third-party data like prescribing trends or affiliations? And how does it ensure performance on iPads used by field reps?
Yeah, Ashok, take it.
Yeah, that's what Rajesh explained previously. Like right now also we did POC in NRX TRX data, which is a critical data for the decision making. By looking at that, rep can can have that visualization completely in the iPad. So rep can decide that what is the priority based on that data. If there is a dip in the chart, like NRX TRX or NRX versus TRX, that HCP need to be visited, and he has to go and he has to fix that really what's going on, why that that data is coming like that. So that is a key decision making thing, and connecting to that NRX TRX something like that kind of a data is very simple from the X-Pages, and they can be consumed through X-Pages real time.
Right. Yep. Perfect. Next question is, how do persona-based layouts in X-Pages actually improve engagement with HCPs compared to one-size-fits-all CRM view?
Yeah, this is really a great question. This is exactly where, Veeva Vault CRM X-Pages show real differentiation. Let's break it down practically from a technology plus engagement impact perspective. Actually, if you ask me, relevance is equal to attention. So instead of showing everything like, in one page, X-Pages show only what matters to that HCP based on, persona. That is how this prioritization everything comes. So that's where we can bring in the relevance into the page related to that HCP. That's how it is very useful.
That's great. Thank you. And final question is, what are some real-world use cases where X-Pages has significantly improved decision-making or efficiency for field teams?
Let me take this question, and you can add it to it, Ashok. So as you said, as we again, just to reiterate, from the sales rep point of view, because this webinar is all about improving productivity for a sales rep. So three more important topics of a sales rep is, how does he improve or grow prescriptions for the doctors he's responsible for? And the second is, how does he manage his territory? How can he make the calls effectively? And the third one is, how can he build meaningful relationship with HCPs, right? So these are the three top priorities for any sales rep. Now, if you look at all these three, objectives, he needs data. He needs contextual data. He or she needs the visualization so that he can make meaning out of this data and visualization, and therefore he can plan his day effectively, and then the time that he gets with the doctor, he can really make that count in giving the context, showing the data, and prescribing or recommending some of the solutions that will add value to the doctor. So all these examples, what we spoke about, is only possible by building a custom page, or the pharma rep has to basically spend more time in collecting this data, analyzing this data, versus he having a one screen where he gets all this data, in a simple way, either online or offline.
Awesome. Well, that's all we have for questions today. Thank you all for your time today. And thank you again, Rajesh and Ashok, for sharing your expertise with us. For those of you who have joined, you will receive a link shortly to this webinar for your review. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.